Ladies and gentlebirds, welcome back to the Outside Insider. What a night. Friday night, the best night of the week. The Eagles are just 2 days away from what will probably be, without jinxing it, a week 4 victory. I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are as well. We're going to go over everything you need to know before this weekend's matchup. Sam Howell and whatever's going on there. Whatever happened against the Buffalo Bills, to a potential Jalen Hurts debate, the tush push. That in itself opens up an entire can of worms, and of course, so much more. But thank you all for hanging out. I'll level with you. I've just eaten my dinner. It's like a gannet, like an absolute gannet at the speed of sound to be able to do this in time. So if I do, get a bit choked up, it's indigestion now. I've got a whole pizza just sat in my throat like a pelican, and it's not pretty. But we're talking about a different type of birds right now. We're going to go Eagles. Ron's in. What's up? Adam's in. Nice to see you. Isaac with his best. Leroy Jenkins. I never get sold that. I either get Leroy Jenkins. I got told the other day I look like the actor from It, the film. You know, the clown, the horrible clown Pennywise from It. The actor, I got told I look like. I don't know how to take that to this day. Is that good or bad? But we will see. Ron says Howell got sacked 7 times last week. Yeah, we're definitely going to get onto that matchup because it is one that absolutely favours the Eagles. And even though Washington is actually getting back some reinforcements and the offensive line does look a little bit less turnstile than it did, I don't think it's going to be enough. I really do not think that is going to be enough to do much of anything, if we're brutally honest, against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. The other side of the ball is interesting. We know the Commanders do have a very impressive front four. Is Jalen Hurts going to be able to potentially get that ball out of his hands quicker? I saw something earlier today saying that he's like tied with Deshaun Watson for the most time with the ball in his hands in the league, and they've got to try and cut that down. It's around 0.4 seconds up on where it was last year, so it's not even a dramatic increase. But it does make you wonder, certainly. And I wonder how much of that was sort of left in week 1 and week 2. Because in my opinion, the offense looked a lot more, refreshed in week 3. It looked a little bit more like the offense of old. It wasn't perfect, but there was an element of aggressiveness there that I think was certainly missing in the opening 2 weeks. The Mad Chat sent me a Twitter, a message for the PSN stuff? Because that will be, definitely let me know. I'll keep you. So I didn't expect it to get that many replies. So I got like 25, 30 emails I've got to go through over this weekend to do my very own football manager scouting reports, but on people. But regardless of what happens, I'll make sure everyone gets an email back and some feedback and that sort of thing. Because no one likes to be left on red, essentially. So we always try and make sure that we do the best that we can and bring as many people on as we can as well. Like salt and pepper, we're going to push it real good. What's up, Greg? Nice to see you. Let's get into the matchup then. Let's get into Sam Howell specifically. I mean, I made this graphic earlier. K1's not here, so he's going to be absolutely livid that, I come packing with the graphics every show, and you miss them. It's a one-time thing. I can't help you. But I thought it would be interesting to compare Sam Howell and Jalen Hurts as a passer through 3 weeks, just completely out of context, to see how similar or dissimilar they look. Because I saw there was a tweet earlier that was saying, what would you grade Jalen Hurts this season? And I said C. Like, on a grade of like A to F, about a C, about middle of the road. Like, nothing spectacular, nothing terrible, C. One of the replies I got, if it was one of you, I apologize. I can't remember the name. My Twitter was being quite hectic today. But basically said that it's got to be at least a B because Jalen is responsible for some of the wins. They're 3-0. My response to that would be, I don't know how directly responsible Jalen Hurts is for that team winning any game up to this point. And it's not a knock because obviously he has played a part and he has made some great plays and he's pushed the team down the field. But you wonder, a lot of it has been DeAndre Swift. A lot of it has been the turnover differential and the defense doing what it does best, and Sean Desai coaching like an absolute crackhead. So I don't know necessarily how much is on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. So I thought, all right, let's make an out-of-context comparison. We'll break it down. And I promise this ends up in a positive. So I'm not here to slander Jalen Hurts. You can put your pitchforks away. I'm going to lead you. I'm going to decoy you. I'm going to bait you in. I'm going to decoy you. And we'll see what I mean. So this is Sam Howell and Jalen Hurts through 3 weeks of the NFL as passers. Very similar, like scarily similar. There isn't much in it at all. And if you take out the fact that 4 of those interceptions from Sam Howell came last week, all of a sudden it becomes a little bit like even more scary, this is out of context. Again, the whole point is this isn't meant to resemble anything. It's a comparison where it's Sam Howell, a very young quarterback, struggling, and Jalen Hurts not at his best. Okay? So what I'm going to show you next is this. And it's kind of a collection of data points or like stats and stuff from the game against the Bills. And this is where Jalen Hurts makes a difference. So Jalen Hurts might not be lighting it up. Let's just go back to this a second, okay? Let's just look at that. Not particularly brilliant. Sure. Level with Sam Howell. Not great. But where does he differ? Well, for starters, he doesn't turn it over 4 times in one game. The main difference, though, is that in the opening 5 drives against the Bills, Sam Howell and that Washington offense got into the Buffalo 21, 15, and 1 yard line and didn't score a single point. That's not in the same drive. All of those data points of 21, 15, and 1, 3 completely different drives. 3 of their first 5 drives. Inside the red zone twice, a yard outside it once, and they come away with absolutely zilch. Nil point. 0. I can't think of any other words. Null. There we go. There's another one. Yeah, I'm out of words for 0, but you get the point. And the other fact is that he's been sacked 19 times through 3 games. It is the most sacks of any quarterback through the NFL through 3 weeks. And I was thinking, well, surely that's got to be the offensive line. Like Washington's offensive line's banged up. He's not playing particularly well. They are getting some pieces back. But looking back at just the highlights of that game, not even the lowlights, not even the interceptions, not even, the rest. Just the basic 2-minute clip the NFL upload. Sam Howell sucked. He sucked me in week 1. I thought I was all in. I thought, right, okay, this kid might have it. But looking at that week 3 game, I swear to God, of the 7 sacks that he took against the Buffalo Bills, 4 or 5 were on him, just being indecisive and stood there looking like a deer in headlights, not knowing what to do. And it felt like the moment got too big for him. And he's literally just frozen like a statue. And that's the difference Jalen Hurts makes. So we can look at something like this. You can go on Twitter and go into an echo chamber where someone with a lot of followers will tell you that Jalen Hurts sucks or that he's struggling or whatever. But when all's said and done, if the Eagles offense get into the opposing red zone, chances are they're leaving with points. At least 1 time out of 3. Okay, it's only a 30% hit rate, but you'd like to think they're going to do that. He's also not taking 7 sacks in a game because of the mobility that he brings, because of that danger of being a dual threat quarterback. So while Jalen Hurts has not been anywhere near his best, he has certainly not been anywhere near the worst it could possibly be. And I just wanted to start out with, I understand that setting the barometer of Sam Howell isn't exactly the greatest compliment in the world, but I think it kind of just helps you reset and understand what a good quarterback is. Because I came into that conversation on Twitter earlier today, and I was thinking, well, I don't think Jalen Hurts has been responsible for wins. I don't think he has been a driving factor in why the Eagles have won games. And I tweeted it. It's up there. You can find it. It's buried in my Twitter account from earlier today. But then you look at like what Sam Howell doesn't do and what he has cost the team and what the rest of the Washington team has had to just let slip by because Sam Howell has taken too many sacks or held onto the ball too long or tried to run around and sprinted 10 yards backwards or ended up throwing 4 picks. Whatever it is, that's the difference. And again, Sam's a very bottom echelon there, and somewhere between Jalen Hurts and Sam Howell, either is like a median quarterback to compare at this point. And I still think my point stands that if the Eagles had a run, I'm going to throw a name out there just for the sake of it. If Derek Carr was the quarterback for this team through 3 games, they would still be 3-0, in my opinion. And not a shot at Jalen Hurts. What I am saying is that Jalen Hurts is better than what some people are on Twitter saying. There have been some very poor takes, and I'm the connoisseur of bad takes, but there have been some horrific takes concerning the Eagles quarterback. He's not actively helped them lose. He's not actively helped them win. He's been in the middle. And we know what the meat on the bone is. We know what the ceiling is for him. So I think that should instill a lot of confidence over what can be left to progress. Because he has got better week on week. He passed like 250 yards for the first time in week 3. The defenses he's faced haven't exactly been terrible. They've been pretty good. And he hasn't been helped by varying factors at the time. So all in all, everything's okay. And there's no need to panic. And Jalen will be absolutely fine. Let's get to some of your comments. They will outlaw the brotherly shove next season. All right, let's move to this then. Let's talk brotherly shove. Because this is really winding me up now. Really, I don't understand why there is such a petition from not just other teams but fans to get the play banned. Like, it's a legal play. It's not like they're doing something that's like even tiptoeing the rules. If it's been legal since 2005, I think the initial rule was that you can't push offensive players, right? If it has been legal for the best part of 15 years, oh, that is old, isn't it? 13 years? Like, I don't get why it's an issue now. I know we've seen before that, Tom Brady's done it. Other offenses have done it. What really stands out to me is that in week 1, like 3 or 4 teams tried it and failed and were immediately humiliated, saying that it can't be done, they can't do it. And the difference is the Eagles have a quarterback that can score 600 pounds. They have an offensive line that is just built of athletic freaks of nature. Not every team is built like that. Not every team has that available, and it's just not going to work. And it's got to the point now the Eagles are doing fake ones. They're faking out brotherly shoves. Purely because, like, teams expect on 4th and 1, they're going to brotherly shove it. So maybe pitch it outside, maybe you motion out, whatever it is. Like, you can really catch a team off guard. I'm not sure if it was Chris or Phil Sims. I want to say, I don't know. They're both bozos anyway. But I did see what he said, and I thought it was beyond irresponsible. I also understand it's one of those things where he doesn't mean it literally. But I think as an analyst, when you are given the landscape of the NFL and how much work has been done to reduce targeting and injuries and concussions and CTE, as a former quarterback, I'd like to think that his view on it would be, do you know what I mean? Like a bit more aware. No, I mean, look, I just came on here 10 minutes ago and said someone had coached like a crackhead. It's a different level to I would go out and try and kill that player, because like the dynamic's different. One's clearly sarcasm, the other one feels malicious in a way, and that's what I don't get. And bear in mind, Phil is the son. Oh, Chris is the son. Right. Oh, I see. I've got confused. Okay, right. I'm with you. So yeah, but Chris is also the one that put out the QB ranking with Jalen Hurts, like, ranked below literally everyone ever, wasn't he? Like, so I'm not exactly surprised. I think there is clearly an agenda there that, like, he's been wrong, he gets rubbed in, maybe he gets fired, any excuse to hate then gets wound up. But the feedback, the drive back from national analysts complaining about a 1-yard play, like, I'm not being funny. Realistically, if I drive 17 plays down the field and I get to the 2-yard line, I kind of think I'm getting it in, one way or another, And if I don't, I don't. But if you stop me 3 times and you can't stop me the 4th, it's on you. Do you know? Like, they're not doing anything illegal. It's not anything that's even pushing the rule book. It's using a physical advantage to their advantage. And for any team or coach or analyst or fan to be genuinely getting irritated and irked and annoyed by the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles can come out and like just run a 1-yard play successfully like 80% of the time is ludicrous. Like, it's the equivalent of getting annoyed that a receiver catches a curl route when there's a corner 10 yards off. Like, if a receiver runs up, turns around, catches the ball and the corner's got no chance, people going, oh, they shouldn't be able to do that. Put your corners closer then. Stop playing 10 yards off coverage. They won't do it. Like, and if you, to be fair, I don't understand how you stop the brotherly shove. I will level with you. I don't actually have a game plan, because it all just comes down to athleticism, timing, physicality, and there's no like variable there. You can't like out IQ an arm wrestle. You just can't. So I get why it's frustrating for players, but to get to the point of like, oh my God, this should be illegal is just, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know, like, there's got to be something. I'll tell you what should be illegal over that is what happened to the Vikings the other week when Justin Jefferson fumbled it in the end zone and it's ruled as a touchback. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. That's legal. And apparently no one kicked off about that. But the Eagles doing a 1-yard play is like, oh, that's barbaric. Get out of the league. That's got to be banned. Meanwhile, you can get to the end zone, score a touchdown, drop it, and apparently the other team, it's a touchback. So I don't know. The NFL, we have had 10 years of even trying to determine what a catch is in the NFL. How many games have been decided by catches that aren't catches, that should be catches, that might be catches, and catches that are catches that weren't catches? Catch. So I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I mean, Ron's got a good point there. It's as much as it's sarcastic, it's like if you had a kicker that was like that could somehow kick 60 yards, and instead of like reliably 60 yards, like I say, his longest was 80, and his average was like 63. Okay, in some inhumane world, it'll be the equivalent of like returning a punt to the 40, kicking the field goal, getting it every single time, because you wouldn't need to score touchdowns. You can just like get the ball, score a field goal, done. Get the ball, score a field goal, done. And just rinse, repeat. And complaining. Well, like, get a kicker that can do the same then. Like, there is no reason to be frustrated. It's barbaric. It really is just, I don't know. I want to say a generational thing of just like, and I'm part of it, of like, you don't like something and you just whine about it, but it does my head in. It really does. The refs not stopping the play that should have been stopped. Yeah, that's another one. I mean, also the fact that the play clock goes to 0 a billion times and then the players snap like 3 seconds after it, that should be an issue. Very rarely is, though. And it's like, oh, well, the play clock's different in the stadium. And it's like, it is. But a lot of the time, it's not 5 seconds slower, is it? So sort it out. The whole tush-push brotherly shove thing is just moronic. Anyone that's debating it should be banned needs to just go and touch grass, maybe have an ice cream, sit down, slide into someone's DMs, like do something to brighten up your day, you know? Go and buy yourself a bacon and sausage baguette. Anything but complain on Twitter about the fact that 1 yard play should be banned when it's perfectly legal and does nothing to infract on the rules whatsoever. But that's just me, you know? But let's talk about something that isn't tushy-pushy. As much as we do love tushy and push in this house, let's compare these teams head on, side by side, going into week 4. We're already week 4. That used to be the quarter-way point of the NFL, didn't it? It's now like week 5 and a bit, technically, isn't it? Because you've got 18. Is it 18? Technically 18 weeks, but it's 17 with a bye. Like, it's a long season now. It's a long season. We'll compare the teams side by side. We'll see what we're cooking with here. What are the Eagles in for this weekend? Well, first and foremost, the passing offenses right now, very similar. And again, that does, I think, if anything, just reaffirm the fact that there is still a lot of meat on the bone when it does come to this Philadelphia Eagles team. They're not firing on all cylinders. Jalen isn't at his best right now. And if they are like comparable to a Washington offense that turned the ball over 4 times in one game, got sacked 7 times in the process, put up 3 points against Buffalo, that's an issue. This Eagles offense is too good to be yielding or like leaving so much meat on the bone. So hopefully that will change. The rushing offense is where things obviously brighten up. DeAndre Swift has been an absolute game changer. Meanwhile, Brian Robinson just continues to fumble every single time he has the ball, it feels like. I thought Miles Sanders... Oh, no, sorry, it's Antonio Gibson. My apologies, Brian. Don't beat me up. Antonio Gibson had the fumbling issue, but he fumbled 6 times as a rookie, then kind of got it sorted, then fumbled again, and then now he's had like 2 fumbles through 3 weeks. So he fumbled in week 1 and he fumbled in week 3. I think there's a very good chance against that defensive line, he's going to fumble again. Defensively, the Eagles are 10th against the pass, number 1 against the rush. It is crazy, isn't it, that they're 2nd in rushing offense, 1st in rushing defense, 4th in turnover differential, and I'm pretty sure they lead the league in time of possession. But which is great, but you can't lead the league in time of possession and then be like 25th in passing offense. Like, that doesn't check out. But I don't know. Look, there's meat on the bone. Realistically, this Washington team isn't fantastic. If Buffalo can put up like close to 40 on them, the Eagles should comfortably get like 3 or 4 touchdowns. That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. But this does feel like the kind of game that should have Jalen Hurts written all over it. Especially given that, they snuck out a win in week 10 last year. We all remember that chaos. Like Washington somehow pulled something out of their arse to win that game. That can't happen again. The Eagles cannot let that happen again. They've got to be more disciplined. They know this game matters. Like they've got a 1-game lead in the NFC East. A win here would extend it over Washington to a 2. It may do the same to Dallas. This has to be something they take advantage of. The trenches we know is an advantage. I mean, Sam Howell got sacked, as we said, 7 times last week. He's now going to face Jalen Carter. That alone is scary. And Jordan Davis still isn't getting the flowers he deserves. Fletcher Cox is looking good. The defensive ends have been a bit quiet, but when the interior is doing so much damage, do they need to be any louder? Like, this defensive front is getting so much pressure on opposing quarterbacks that Sam Howell, if he struggled against the Bills, I would say the Eagles' front 7 is better than Buffalo's. And that's not biased. I think that's just legitimate. So there is every chance Sam Howell, pardon the language, shits the bed on Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me. Coming off a game like that, you kind of only go one of 2 ways. You either end up rebounding back and, proving that was the exception to the rule and not the rule itself, or you end up just spiraling a bit and you struggle and you get in your own head and you try and really overcompensate for the fact that you made an absolute stinker in the previous week, and you want to go out again and you want to try and make a statement. So it's going one of those 2 ways. But I think Jalen Carter and the Eagles will certainly have the edge. And Ron says, I hope we spread the ball around more this week, unlike last week when Hurts was staring down AG every pass. Yeah, I think, again, that goes back to what we said last week. We turned into Prime Nostradamus last week, where we predicted literally everything the Eagles would do. If AJ has an off week, he's getting the ball 20 times a week later. If Devontae Smith flatlines, he's getting a ton of attention a week later. Dallas had it in week 1, came back, got a lot of volume in week 2, just couldn't do anything with it. It's sort of become and I don't know how teams aren't game planning for it, but it feels like an assumed thing for the Eagles now, where if someone does struggle in one game, they end up doing much better in the second or being forced the ball to get them out of the slump. Great for teamwork, great for chemistry, great for morale. But I do feel like you can leave stuff on the plate because you're so intent on just firing everything at one guy to make a point. Doesn't really help you that much. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I'd like to see the ball spread around more. We said it last week. I would like to see the Eagles get guys involved. And they did. They did get Olamide Zaccheaus involved. He was one of my favourite signings of the offseason. I was very excited to see him come in. With Quez Watkins still down, I'm excited to see him get another opportunity. I don't think, genuinely, like we said a few weeks back, Quez is going to be here at the end of this season. Now he's out with a hamstring. Now Zaccheaus gets his first touchdown, a 58-yard game in week 3. The pressure starts to build. He's got to come back and make an impact. I don't think he's going to be the guy. I think Zaccheaus is going to really steal that role. Would not surprise me if in the next couple of weeks he puts up another, maybe a 60-yard game, a 70-yard game, just on a couple of deep passes here and there. Typically, he also goes off for that in the 1 week I take him out of my fantasy league. So that's great. Thank you for that, Olamide. Jonathan Gannon couldn't stop the run with 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers last year. I mean, Jonathan Gannon couldn't do much of anything last year. I feel like, again, anyone in this chat could have coached that defense and they would have had the same result throughout the year. There was too much talent for that not to have. The talent's going to figure it out, Realistically, if I walked into a mechanic and was, or a garage, as you guys call it. I don't know, do you call them garages? Mechanics? I don't know. If I walked into an establishment that fixes cars and was like, yeah, guys, if you just, I don't know, that one needs a new steering wheel, the axle's gone there, and that's an exhaust, mate. So if you guys can sort that out, that'd be great. I think I would have, that's the equivalent of me coaching that defense. The same level as Gannon, realistically. I think I genuinely would have had more of an impact. Reddick has had the cast read from his son. Yeah, he has been very quiet, Hassan Reddick. And I also, if I'm honest, expected to see more from Nolan Smith at this point, and I haven't seen that yet. Now, I saw there was a comment made by Sean Desire that he would get some more playing time this week. Maybe that's just taking some pressure off Reddick. Maybe it's just rotating guys around. I'd like to think if the Eagles do go up by like 3 scores, which is absolutely plausible, considering how little Washington are able to sufficiently get inside the red zone, we could see more Nolan Smith anyway. And that's the sort of game where you want to slowly get them up to speed. Those sort of rookies. Same with the linebackers. If you're going to try maybe Eli Ricks at safety, we've got to touch on that as well. I'll get through these comments. We'll have a little break and then we'll come back and talk about the safety position because it is going to be an interesting one. I will take a slightly longer break, only an extra 30 seconds because I do want to retweet the links out just to try and lure some more people in. And then we'll go over the safety situation, answer any questions you guys have, and of course go over our predictions as well for the game. 3 things to forward to Sunday's Eagles game. How many third and long the Redskins get into, penalty yardage, red zone offense due to short fields. Yeah, I mean, red zone's going to be an interesting one for both teams. Again, mainly because the Washington Commanders sucked at it last week. Yeah, I think Washington's going to really struggle offensively. They can't run the ball at the minute. Gibson's fumbling a lot. Brian Robinson has not done too much. The only matchup I think they genuinely have some steam in is George Jobe against Jahan Dotson, and well, maybe even Curtis Samuel if they do start rotating guys around. I think Samuel's going to play outside. I wrote about it earlier today. I think Curtis Samuel is going to be the guy that they move. If you move Bradbury into the slot to account for the fact that Jobe is outside, he would be matching Samuel. Samuel's a guy with look, I know he's fallen off in recent years. He's not the same receiver he was during his time at Carolina. Still runs 4.3. Still a very good guy. Even Jahan Dotson took the lid off the defense in week 1. Was great for my fantasy. So I think you get someone that's quick. You sit them on Jobe. You want someone that can be quick in and out of their breaks. You know, based off last week, that Josh Jobe is playing off. He's off coverage. They're going to try and buy him as much time as humanly possible, as much leverage as they can. There isn't going to be a lot of it, though, this week because the Eagles are down to bare bones at safety. And again, we'll get to that in the second half of the show. The throw to the Zacchaeus was beautiful. Yeah, it really was. It was a great pass. It was nice to see him get his first touchdown as a Philadelphia kid. There is something nice, isn't there, about hometown guys playing in Philadelphia. I remember speaking to Joe Flacco when he was on the Eagles, obviously, a couple of years ago. We had an interview and he got so excited about being back in Philadelphia. It was really, I remember before the interview, his agent was on the Zoom with me. So it was me, Joe Flacco, and his agent. And his agent literally was like, ask him about whatever you want, but you can't ask him about last season with the Jets. And I was like, right. So nothing in regards to how he left. He's like, no. You can talk about the Super Bowl with Baltimore. You can talk about him coming home to Philadelphia because he's a native there. Obviously, he played for Delaware. But you can't talk about the Jets. And I was like, right, okay. So then Joe just sat there on Zoom going, and I was like, wow, okay. Fair enough. The guy's got some maybe some sensitive issues there about his stint with the New York Jets. The first one, anyway. But yeah, it was cool to see Zacchaeus catch the ball. On that note, just a nice little story there you can have for you. Gaz had a ton of secondary talent last year and couldn't stop anyone. Yeah, I don't know. But then now he's out there in Arizona doing all this weird spooky Halloween stuff with everyone flying around all over the place. And I don't really know. Maybe he's got an ego now and it's gone through his head and he's realised that he actually has to coach, so he started pulling all the stops out. I don't know. I'd still take Sean Desire at this point, though. St. Jose preps down the street. Love to see it. That's cool. I need to brush up on my, what's it called? My knowledge of college, if you will. Because I don't follow it as much. I don't understand all of it. Look, obviously I'm English, so I've got soccer. I've got the Premier League. And then the tier system where teams go up and down based on how good they are that year. I don't understand how someone like Michigan cannot be in a conference, or is it Michigan or someone like that can't be in a conference? Who is it? Is it Michigan? I don't know. It's someone dodgy that can't be in a conference, but it's not Notre Dame. That's it. They can't be in a conference, but they end up making the playoffs, and then people can cupcake schedules. So you can have Alabama against John Mills' school for hacksaws, and somehow they blow them out 80 points, and that puts them at I don't get it. Then there's bowl games, so I do want to get into it. I've tried every year mainly just for college, like for like scouting for the NFL like prospects and stuff. But like whenever I played NCAA 14, I did buy it. I bought it twice. I imported it from America. I got a PlayStation 3 version of the game that was region unlocked. Whenever I played it, I've made my own relegation and promotion system where the SEC is the best and the Sun Belt's the worst, and the top two teams. I realign the conferences each year, and the top two move around. And I had a spreadsheet on my computer of like it got very obsessive. You see what I said before last time at the end of the stream? We had the little therapy. Get where I'm going with it. So there you go. We'll quickly have a little break in just a second, and then we'll come back talking about Josh Job. We'll talk about the safeties and a lot more as well. But as Doug says, he did go back to the Jets. It's really weird. Yeah, he doesn't like playing out of his local area. He's playing Baltimore, New York, Philadelphia. Anything in that catchment area he loves. Literally told me he had offers from like AFC teams. I didn't want him. He just wanted to stay in that kind of catchment area. And I started like listing teams, and he was like, no, yeah, and like where he'd want to play. And I said the Giants, and the Asian just sat there and like shook his head. Wasn't fun. But yeah, going to take a short break. I'll retweet the link out. We'll come back. We'll talk about the safeties. We'll talk some predictions. I'll try and have some Coca-Cola and then not burp for the next 28 minutes of the stream. If you could leave a like, I know Ron said earlier, I believe that we're on 10. So we can pump those numbers up. We get to like 15 by the end. That will be absolutely sublime. Yeah, I wish it would tell you like who liked it so I could thank you all personally. That would be cool. Like on Twitch, when you get a follow, a little notification comes up. But beggars can't be choosers. You have to write to me in the chat and be like, I liked it. And I will thank you very wholesomely and sing you a little song. But yeah, back in 30 seconds, guys. We'll go from there. Oh, just about got it. There we go. We're back. Second half of the show is underway. Hello. I hope you all missed me. Go ahead and burp as much as you want. We don't care. I do, because I don't have a very manly burp. I feel like it's quite a thing, isn't it? Guys that are going, like, and mine's just, I feel like I sound like an orc in Lord of the Rings when I burp. It's literally like, it's not great. They did. Yeah. Flacco went back, and then that was it. Really for him. It's a shame. Great guy though, lovely fella. It was really weird because like when I first started watching the NFL, like I properly got into it. Joe Flacco was like near the top of his game, really, and then you watch him go on, you win a Super Bowl, and then it kind of like peaks and deteriorates and ends up in Philadelphia, and then just seeing him sat on a Zoom call, like it's different when it's like a Super Bowl winner, you know. It's weird. It's sort of like a different level of, I guess, immortality, for lack of a better term. Like, I've interviewed Eagles players. I think the only other one I got the same vibe with was Asante Samuel. Sat down with him a couple of times, and same experience both times. Very different type of character for sure. But just seeing him there, knowing he's one of the best at his position to ever do it, was very, like, yeah, I don't know, kind of like a pinch me moment where you're like, wow, that is actually him. Or like Joel Embiid, but that was purely because like whenever I spoke to him at the London game, and I realised his hand was literally bigger than my face and could like pick the whole thing up, and that was absolutely terrifying. So that was a Joel Embiid scary thing, but not the same. Not right. There's no need for that, is there? Okay, this is November. All right, we started that in March. If you want to donate, link in the description. Look at that. Look, beggars can't be choosers. I get ID'd for energy drinks. I sound like a 17-year-old girl. I look like a 16-year-old boy. And my burp hasn't gone to you. I just need some area that's getting not going in that conversation, but we're all right. The only thing that has gone through puberty is my hairline. That's horrific. Look at it. Look, it's got 2 pockets on it. I've got like panda ears on the side of my hair. You can't really see it, but like that's terrible. The forehead on the boy. Look at that. Oh, I'm going bald. I'm going absolutely bald. Not on. Anyway, who by Asante or no? Flacco was more like it was sort of larger. I interviewed Fletcher Cox, and there was not a like I don't know what the word is. I didn't feel uncomfortable. Wasn't nervous about anything. Carter Hart didn't feel nervous or anything. Like Claude Giroux didn't feel nervous or anything. And then I don't know. That was different. Flacco just felt different. It was very weird. You're an Eagles fan, it makes you more than a man, it makes you the man. It makes me a boy, I think, at this point. But I'm like the biggest 28-year-old boy that there is. 6'3" of me. That's the only place I've got puberty. I'm up there looking down going, hello, everyone. It's not good. I'm like a giant. Let's go back in and talk about the Eagles safety situation and what they're potentially going to do then, because there are some intriguing decisions for Sean Desai. I feel like he's been scratching his head quite aggressively over the past couple of weeks. And he now has to go into a situation where Justin Evans is down, potentially. Sidney Brown is down, conclusively. And that leaves Reed Blankenship and Terrell Edmonds. So there isn't really a lot for him to work with. And Terrell Edmonds is all right. Justin Evans, probably about the same level, if not a bit worse. I would rather Sidney Brown from a longevity perspective. Just get him in. Give him the reps. Obviously, we can't now, but I would have rather that decision a couple of weeks ago. So what do they do at safety if Terrell Edmonds struggles? Because, I mean, it's bear in mind, there's a two-way avenue to view this. Number one, shit, they need safety help, or they've got to work out maybe dropping linebackers back or bracketing coverage, whatever it is. That's fine. That's the coordinator's job. Number two, before we actually get into the logistics of it, I'm like a DJ now, can we just give Reed Blankenship his flowers? Like, the guy was undrafted, comes in a pinch last year, turns head, and everyone is like, wow, okay, this guy can ball. And he gets like some great nicknames. I actually can't. I was going to say like Milk Dawkins, and that wasn't it at all. So I'm going to give up. I can't remember what it was. But there was some really funny nicknames. He kind of got the affection of Eagles fans everywhere. And then year two, it's just assumed that he's the starter. Like, it's just, he's there. Like, yeah, he's got that role. He's a starter. Not a worry in the world. Like, we're talking an undrafted guy that just came through, played a bit, was good. And now it's like, yeah, he's a starter. He's fine. Yeah, and no worries. And it's like, you sure? Not going to double take and maybe get some insurance policies? And it was like, there was such an overwhelming sense of confidence that it was never wavered. It was just assumed. Every 53-man roster prediction, every analyst, every player, every fan knew that Reed Blankenship is his starting safety. And then he makes a play like he did last week where he like jumped the route before Baker Mayfield even threw the ball. And you're just sat there like, wow. Like, he's so entrenched at this point as like a key figure on that defense and a key player and someone that is just risen up through the ranks that it's hard to forget how young he is and how inexperienced he is. And the level of which, again, wasn't even drafted. It's unbelievable to not only come in, get a starting role that early as an undrafted free agent, maintain it through an off-season, and then build on it to a point where you become like one of the key players on that defense. So just shout out Reed Blankenship because he has gone above and beyond, I think, everyone's wildest expectations of what was ever plausible for this sort of time in his career. He has come on leaps and bounds. And not only that, he's had a coordinator change. And as we know, some players thrive, some players don't whenever you switch coordinators. You look at Brandon Graham, a defensive coordinator change literally saved his career. You look at other guys. Let's try that. Vinny Curry maybe got mudded by one. Corners are specifically susceptible, just trying to trip myself up now, to schematic changes. Look at Rasul Douglas in Green Bay. I'm sure it wasn't a great exhibition the other night, but you get what I'm saying. That you can leave Philadelphia in a scheme that doesn't fit you, find your home, and you're better because you fit the scheme more suitably. So for Reed Blankenship to be undrafted, to come through, it is crazy. We got his Slay calls him the milkman, and his Ed Reed Blankenship. I would call him, I was going to say, someone just stole my joke. I was going to call him a midwife because he always delivers, but a mailman works as well. I don't know what I'd call him. Blankenship and Chet. There's puns there. There's puns. I'm too tired for this, unfortunately, to be making puns tonight. But there will be, I'm sure. But I just remember watching that play, that interception, and the speed he jumped off his perch to jump that route and snatch it away. Like, you've got to realise, for that play specifically, if he'd missed that ball, that was a touchdown. He's in a cover 2. He's sat in a cover 2 situation. Okay? If you're going to break down on a route and tackle, fine. If you're going to break in front of the player at the speed of sound to intercept a ball and you miss, or you're a second early or a fraction too late, there's no one back there. Excuse me, there you go. See, puberty bad number 1. The player's running this way. You're breaking down here. If you miss that, who's there? Literally no one. And the fact that Blankenship was able to just see that pass in slow motion, intercept the route, and then the ball is out. It's just outstanding. It really is. Like, that sort of play was what, like, I think we all talked ourselves into what Marcus Epps could do in like year 1 when he made that one interception in the back of the end zone. And everyone was like, whoa, he's got upside. But it was never like sustained. And then it'd be times he was absolutely useless and be caught like doing all sorts. But Reed Blankenship is just so solid and so aware and so intelligent as a football player that he makes that look absolutely effortless. And yeah, it just does deserve the world of credit. Before we even get to the safety position and how they're going to tackle this, we just had to give Reed his flowers because the guy has been phenomenal. Like, it cannot be said enough. To be undrafted, to get a role, keep the role, and then exceed in it, like, in one consistent trajectory is wild. When you're 5th player in the league, an interception on Aaron Rodgers, you know you're good. Yeah, we should have all known there and then, really. But it was, a hell of a play. So we'll talk about the actual safety position then. Obviously, again, Justin Evans is questionable, and then Sidney Brown is out. So as far as what they're going to do, the logical answer is going to be Blankenship and Edmonds. But even there, it's a weak secondary now. If you've got Job, who was picked on, especially on 3rd down last week. If you move Bradbury inside, I said earlier, I genuinely think you're going to see Curtis Samuel at the Z spot. I really do. I know he's the slot guy. I know Jahan Dotson is the guy on the outside. It would not surprise me to just put the speed on him. Put the speed on Job. You know you've got a cushion, run up 6 yards, turn around, easy play. You've got a quarterback that has been sacked 19 times in 3 games. You've got a quarterback that threw 4 interceptions last week that is struggling inside the red zone. Shorten the offense. I don't know why I'm like pitching for Washington here. That's switched. I'm trying to... I'm not trying to coach Washington. You've got to stop giving them tips. But realistically, it's an issue for Philadelphia if they do that, is what I'm saying. If they do start attacking Job, like if you want to pull Blankenship into bracket, to maybe like funnel plays into the safety, it's fine. But it's then a lot of pressure on Terrell Edmonds, who's then covering James Bradbury, who's new to the slot. You've then got Darius Slay the other side. Slay and McLaurin, I will say, is always a fun matchup to watch. I think, like, was it the second time and Slay absolutely shut him down? Brilliant. Like, one of the best things I've ever seen. He's got a habit of doing that, Darius Slay, doesn't he? Just coming up, like, when it's a one-on-one matchup against a star receiver. Even now, when he's a little bit older, a little bit later in his career, he still wants all the smoke from all the young guys. And I would argue that the receivers today are arguably, like, more physical, more quicker, more everything than they were 10 years ago because it's just the way things are going. Like, they're like hyper athletes now. Sure, like, I don't want to, I don't know. It's like soccer players back in the day. Everyone's like, oh, well, you know, or NBA is the biggest one, isn't it? Everyone always goes on about the NBA, like, oh, well, it wasn't the same in the 90s or whatever when Michael Jordan was doing this. And it's like, yeah, but he was doing it against like bricklayers. It's a bit different. I think it's kind of the same thing. But for Darius Slay to just want the smoke, to want the matchup, to want the attention, to want to take on the responsibility is a really good trait to have. And it takes a lot of pressure off a defensive coordinator because you're able to scheme around that then. 13 likes, 3/4 through the stream. Look, I would say it's a Friday night. Everyone's out having a beverage, a beveragino, having a little drinky poo. So I know Fridays are a little bit quieter, but if you could leave a like, if you can get us to 15, that would be very nice. If you're just tuning in, hello, just say hello in the chat if you're watching this. We're a friendly community. We're a wholesome bunch. I know my voice is annoying, but I promise I won't shout at you. Nothing you say is silly, within reason. As long as you're not Theo Ash, but we won't talk about that. That's a debate for another day. But yeah, I'm sure we'll have plenty of fun. So yeah, leave a like, say hello, join the fun. We'll make sure your comments get read out. We try and be as interactive as we can. And with 15 minutes left, we're almost at the point where the chaos begins anyway. We will do what we did last time on Monday. Did we actually do a giveaway on Monday? Did anyone get the score right? I don't think they did they? I don't think anyone got the score, but we'll do it again. If you can correctly guess the score and put it in the chat. So we've got a record of it. I'll circle back. We'll see if anyone got it right. And if you do, we'll send you an Eagles jersey. How about that? How about that for a Merry Christmas from me? If you can get the score right for Sunday, pop it in the chat. Get it and we'll send you a jersey if you know. Kind of like Theo on TikTok. I didn't even know he did TikTok, to be honest. Not a clue. I'd never heard of the guy. But, you know, it's the only thing with, I don't know, TikTok in itself can be quite tricky. No, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I fell asleep at half time and figured it had come in. And I woke up and was almost mildly relieved that my bank account didn't take a significant hit. But yeah, if you get your score predictions in, I'm going to go 47-17. I'm going to think a blowout. I think Jalen Hurts is going to go off. I really do. Ron says 35-17. I like that. I've gone for a way more aggressive approach. I'm not going to win my own jersey. Bruce is in. There we go. We've got a new fella in the chat. I've got to make it like a chant or a song whenever someone new comes in and drops a message so that they're remembered forever and they'll never forget that moment. Bruce says 48-21. So what Bruce has done there is him mine and gone, I like that. I'm going to differ it a bit. I'm going to get the extra point in there. I'm going to save the Washington touchdown. I'm going to make it a bit easier. I like the hustle. Duck says 34-14. So we're all in agreement. It's an Eagles blowout. 35-30. Oh, I tell you what, Duck and Isaac would be having a hell of a showdown. In fact, all three of you. Are you trying to wind each other up? That is going to be tremendous viewing on a Sunday afternoon. 35-17, 34-14, 35-13. I cannot wait for it to be 37-16 or something like right in the middle of all of them. But yeah, always fun to see new faces. We'll make like an Eagles rhyme. I'll record a little Eagles jingle whenever someone new joins the chat for next stream on Monday. But on that note, actually, quite sad. I hate Friday streams because there isn't one till Monday, and that sucks. I really love doing these. It's been a great addition to my evenings. I like planning them in the afternoons. But yeah, like Friday, I have to go Saturday and Sunday. Normally it's one on, one off. So like, and obviously Tuesdays you've got Brian and Flipping the Birds, and then in the mornings you've got Phil and Trending in the AM, and then on Saturday, nothing. It's quite sad, really. I might cry. It's Scorigami, so I'd still take that W. Oh, I love Scorigami. Scorigami is one of the great blisses of an NFL weekend. Mr. Sandman says, I think Hurts bust out this weekend. First game without torrential rain. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, wouldn't it? On that note, very quickly, total sidetrack. I don't know what is happening in New York, but it looks absolutely terrifying. So if any of you are out there based in the area, please stay safe. I don't know how bad it is across the entire city, but the videos don't exactly look brilliant. And yeah, I'm from an area where we get quite a lot of flooding, and it's just, yeah, never good. So just be careful, guys. But yeah, I agree with the Jalen Hurts sentiment. Purely, again, just like that they match up well in terms of offense and defense. Like Washington gave up so many points that they got rattled last week against the Bills. Doug does make a point. Defense is good, so no more than 3 touchdowns. That is a very good point. I would say a few field goals, but again, Washington struggled to even get 1 touchdown against the Buffalo Bills. And I would say the Eagles defense, if not better, definitely on par with Buffalo's. I would say run defense is far better. That's going to make Sam Howell one-dimensional. That's going to make him hang on to the ball longer. That's going to give Jalen Carter the rock. Jonathan Harvey, new name in the chat. I need like a DJ button of like, bow, 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 bow. Jonathan's in the chat. The Eagles can put 34 on the Commanders. Getting 6 by the... Oh, he's cooking. He's cooking. We've got the first cook of the night. We've been here before. Gents, we've been here before. He's cooking. I've left it far away, but he's cooking again. He's cooking again. I've got to leave that on standby because it kills the joke every time. But he is cooking. I like that. A pick 6. I would love... I want to say like a real road one. So give me like a Keely Ringo pick 6. Because I think he's going to get some reps at safety. I think that like realistically, Terrell Edmonds can't play the entire game. And if Justin Evans is out, I wouldn't trust Rick's back there. I think Ringo will be more suited to it. He's not, again, the most fluid athlete in the world, but I do genuinely think he's got the speed to do it, to come down. So I'd be all in. I'd back Jonathan, but I'd go road. You can't. The annoying thing is you can't even bet on that, can you? Because no, you can't bet on like a backup player to score and to record an interception. But if it happens, cooking so much he opens a Michelin star restaurant. That's the way. We're going to keep the pan there. If anyone else starts cooking in these last, you've got 9 minutes to start cooking up a meal. All right, and we don't want too many chefs in this kitchen, so I won't get it out too much. Greg says Eagles embarrasses the Redskins. Jalen bounces 300 yards passing. DL eats, but Redskins score first. Oh, we have got some Mystic Meg stuff going on now. We've got the crystal ball out, haven't we? It is the time of year. It's spooky season. Everyone's looking into their crystal balls. Dolphins scored 70 points. Anything less than 77 is a letdown. Yeah. That was a hell of an outing there, wasn't it? I mean, again, I do think that Miami might well be the best team in the NFL right now. The Eagles could be. If Jalen Hurts wakes up and shakes off that rust, maybe. For now, I don't think anyone touches Miami. I really don't. I think Josh Allen's been rusty in week 1. The Chiefs haven't been brilliant. Who else has been on the level that the Dolphins are as consistently? I don't think there is anyone. By far the most complete team. I like pick 6 Ricks. That will be good. Jonathan says, thank you, sir. I say thank you, Jonathan. A Reed pick 6. So there's a pick 6 coming then. So we all agree there's a pick 6 on the horizon. And Gordon Ramsay has nothing on John Harvey. He might be the new hero of this stream, John Harvey. He might well be. Miami's looking more like KC than KC this season. Yeah, it's a scary thought. I think it's been a long time coming as well. I feel like the turning point for Miami was that the wild finish to that game a few years ago against New England, where it was like the dying embers of the game, and it was like the lateral passes, and Gronk missed a tackle. That was like the defining Miami resurgence. Like from there, it bottomed out and it started coming up, I think, for Miami. And it's been a gradual incline ever since. It just didn't help that their division is typically so stiff. They're now getting to the point that they are the dominant force in it. But I couldn't imagine being a team in that division while like Tom Brady was at his best. It was just your wife and body. Just, yeah, great. Just show up 16 weeks, come third. Yeah, whatever. Like, there's not much you can do, is there? But yeah, I think that might be the most exciting matchup of the entire year, Isaac, for sure. Like of all the games that are in the NFL over a 17-week span, that might be the one that just it's like must-see TV at that point, isn't it? It is must-see TV. But I will go on a rant very quickly. I'll tell you what isn't must-see TV. Taylor Swift. Listen, I'm a big Swiftie, okay? Devout Swiftie. I wouldn't pay $300 to see her live, and then this is where it gets me. I don't know why there is such a cultural obsession on who she's dating. I don't know why that impacts everything. Like, they're obsessed, the fan base. I'm a 1975 guy, as we all know. OG PSN fans remember the 1975 songs would haunt every single video. Like, but she dated Matty Healy, the singer of the 1975. Everything went crazy, and on Twitter they were like insulting him, and she broke up, and they were like celebrating like they pushed her out of a relationship. Like, woo, we've saved her. And now she's dating Travis Kelce, and he sold more jerseys than Patrick Mahomes. The NFL are making like wristbands for Swifties with like NFL Sunday ticket vouchers on. I don't know why. Like, she's all right, but she's got a new album out every 6 months. It's just like she'd do my head in. She would do my head in. I wouldn't date Taylor Swift. My girlfriend will love that. I wouldn't date Taylor Swift. Sky Blue from AEW, Sure. Taylor Swift, it drives me mad. It's so tiring. So tiring. And it's got to be such a distraction. Like, could you imagine if it was bad enough when Ben Simmons got with a Kardashian and it was flamed? It was flamed. Like he was dating the devil. Like he'd sold his soul. Like the world was over and that she's going to ruin him. And oh my God, the curse is happening. He's got to get out, get away. Taylor Swift dates Travis Kelce, and you'd think they'd just discovered a cure for global warming, that they'd just discovered a way to end poverty. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I'm just not here for the whole January release, like Duck says. There's like, he wore red in a little jersey, but I met him in Kansas. Like, no, I like Taylor Swift, but no, stop it. It doesn't need to happen. It's unnecessary. Phil is in. Phil can cook. Phil actually is a chef technically. Well, I guess he counts as a chef. Is it a different name? I don't know. But with his takes, he most certainly does cook. Phil most certainly does cook, and we can all agree with that. Another great week of trending in the AM shows. Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, you guys are all tied to my work, and you don't want me to break up with my girlfriend so you get more analogies, do you? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. I mean, it was a fine era when every Outside Insider podcast episode was just filled with "it's like your ex-girlfriend." I mean, they were the best episodes. Like they were next level. I peaked then. That was peak LJ. But we're coming back. We're peaking again. Ben Simmons, it did ruin him. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. But I just find the whole thing incredibly bizarre. I'm thankful that Jalen Hurts has none of that drama. I couldn't imagine him getting with a Kardashian. I'm gonna jinx that now. I'm definitely gonna jinx that. Oh, you're a star. See, you're very caring, Duck. You're very caring. I forget you guys have been there throughout the whole thing. It's been a wild ride of Eagles analogies. Now I'm making analogies about stable relationships, and like it's when you finally find the right girl and going through all that. You were a mess as a single person. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is comment of the decade. That is phenomenal. Amazing. Wow, that will go down in history. Put that in the Hall of Fame. If there's ever a rafters for PSN comments, I want that one to be at the very top. Say it how it is. I love it. Definitely not wrong. Yeah, I agree with Ron. But we have got a couple minutes left. So if anyone does have any questions they want to know about the Eagles or Washington, the game ahead, the week ahead, anything PSN related, me being a mess as a single person, whatever you guys want to know, I'm sure we can take a couple more before we sign off for the weekend. Or any weekend plans that you guys have. I don't have any this weekend. I'm playing golf on Sunday. Nothing competitive, just to knock around with a few friends. So I'm looking forward to that. And get a Halloween candle, I think. Another one. I tell you what, I'll show you this, right? This is what we're doing. Look at that. The nicest candle the world has ever seen. It smells of just, apple honey butter, presumably. But it does smell very nice. My favourite. So there you are. If you want a Halloween scented candle, that's the one. If it wasn't PSN, you'd still be working at Apple Store and miserable. That is very true. Yeah, it is weird. I do think that, like, I couldn't imagine life being very... it's just weird. It all happened so quick. Like, when I quit Apple to do PSN full time, I couldn't imagine not happening. Like, I couldn't imagine doing anything else now. Like, I'd find it very weird to go back to, like, a retail job. Like, I'd happily take other jobs, but, like, a retail job at Apple, like, just if I was to drop back in there tomorrow, it feels so alien. Because, like, this is all I've known now for 5 years? 6? 5? Oh, 4? I don't know. Enough years to know that I'm very lucky to do it. But, yeah, like, even days like today, I pinched myself today. Like, so... It's just another little end of stream therapy session. But, like, I always pride PSN. Since day one. Like, originally when we first started out, we couldn't really afford to, pay writers. Because it was just me. I had, before even Apple, I worked at a DIY store. Imagine that for a second. You go into a DIY store to get some wood. You go into a DIY store to get, I don't know, a rake or a lawnmower, whatever it may be, or slabs. And you get me to take them to your car. Like me, gangly, 6'3", can't lift anything, hello, would you like these slabs? Well, it was never for me. It was never for me, that industry. Apple was much better. But anyway, at that time, we couldn't afford to pay writers because I didn't have any money. So there was such an emphasis on like, whoever we bring on, like, I'll develop. Like, we'll really make you a better writer and you'll leave a better writer, like, because of it. So that became the backbone of what we did. And over the next 5-6 years, as we did get more money and we progressed and we could afford opportunities, and even now, like today we promoted Jimmy King. For anyone that does follow the website, Jimmy has been absolutely sensational writing our Philadelphia Union coverage. We made him a lead writer, which guarantees him obviously like more money and gets him more exposure, but like also just it's a way of recognizing how hard he's worked. And his reaction, I love it. That's my favorite thing. It's just getting people like better opportunities and getting them, whether it's more money, whether it's more exposure, getting them to games, whatever it is, but like stuff like that where it's so deserved and we can develop talent, like raw talent, and turn that into something is amazing. Like Nate Tennyson, who was our lead Flyers writer, he's now got an internship with the Philadelphia Union. We've had guys quit for full-time jobs in the industry. And it's just cool. Like I do think that's like our proudest thing of like, it's amazing that we get so much coverage on the website. And I think I'm biased because it is still like my baby, but I think we've got the best selection all round coverage in one place of any site. Like there'll be better blogs that maybe do Eagle stuff a bit better or Fly. I don't think there is, but like Fly stuff a bit better or whatever. But like to have one hub of everything, I think, in my opinion, we're the best out there. And to know that people are coming on now, not just like used to be back in the day, people come on, work for a few months and leave because they wanted a byline or something. And now we've had people like Brian here for 4 or 5 years. We've had Zach here for 5 years. Like Tim, we've got 2 people called Tim. Both have been here since near the beginning. We had one other guy that was here since like year 2, quit this year. So that's 8 years. And he left for a full-time job with the Texas Rangers. And like, I love that more than anything, that like we can play a little role in getting the right people that deserve it, like into the industry. Because it's a shit industry to get into. Like it's really hard. And there's not a lot of money at the entry level. Like until you work up, there isn't a lot of full-time opportunities. But if we can get as close to that as we can and get the right people in the right places and make them better along the way, I see us like a little factory, you know. We are like moneyballing PSN, but we come out with like amazing writers, and they able to get so much opportunities. And I'm just endlessly proud of the team and the work they do. And it's just cool days like today when I can give someone a new opportunity or a new title and say, "Hey, you've earned this. Like, congrats, well done." Like, favorite days in the world at PSN, and it just reaffirms like how lucky I am to do what I do. So yeah, total side note, but just it kind of Duck's thing about being an Apple hit a point where I was like, today of all days, like to compare that, like that's my work now to where I was, and I loved Apple. It's a fun place to work. If you ever have a chance to do it, I definitely would, because it's an amazing company. But I don't know, it just hit home of like, wow, I am like really, really lucky to still be doing this. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's very cool. So before I cry, we'll end it there. Any perspective in this writers chat? Any perspective writers in this chat? Yeah, we are hiring. So if you do want to get involved with PSN, you do fancy yourself as a sports writer, or you just want to get a feel for the industry, shoot me an email, liam.jenkins@phillysportsnetwork.com. I'll be sure to hit you back. We are trying to get on like a couple of Eagles writers. So basically every team but the Union where we're stacked. We're trying to just fill out, get a few more people in, and just over the winter months, make sure that we've got enough people there so no one feels like there's a ton to do. Like that's the other thing, is like it can be so easy to get overburdened and burnt out. So we try and make sure that we've got like a stable of writers where we all know you've got like social lives and families and jobs and school and all the rest of it. And some days you're a bit sad and you don't want to work. Some days life gets the better of you and you just need a day on the sofa with some Doritos and some garlic dip. And that's fine. And we make sure we've got enough people in place where we can take that load off your shoulders and still do the work. So, yeah, if you want to get involved, we are trying to fill out our roster and find some new people to develop. So if you want to be part of the PSN factory, shoot me an email. Yeah, you have been here a while, haven't you? That is I think at this point I need one of your autographs. If we meet, it'll be me asking you for a photo, just because you are like probably our most dedicated fan long term. Like I think Isaac's up there. Isaac's been around a while. I know he's in the Discord and stuff. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm forever grateful. Next time we see Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game and Travis Kelce, I want Kanye to grab the microphone and say Jason Kelce's wife is cooler than Travis Swift's new girlfriend. I'd like it. It'd be fun for sure. Yeah, I still need to watch that Jason Kelce documentary. I still need to do that. Maybe I'll watch it this evening. That's what I'll do with my Saturday. And maybe I'll give a take on it on Monday. You've seen a pit talent develop them. You are trying to make me cry, aren't you? You are. It's not good. You're trying to make me cry. Not a fan of it. You're a star, Doe. I really appreciate the kind words, my friend. Thank you very much. Since 2019. See, that's what that again. It's nights like that where it does like hit me. That's like years. That's like 5 years of your life, or 4. I can't. 5? I want to say 5. Yeah, 21, 2. Yeah, 5. 5 years. A lot can change in 5 years, and to know that we're still a part of your life for 5 years is an amazing feeling. And I promise you, we'll be a part of your life for 5 years more, as long as you let us. As long as you're happy to follow Philadelphia teams and want coverage, we'll be there every step of the way. Rain, sleet, and snow, PSN train to go, as Jalen Hurts once kind of said. And on that note, I will leave you guys to enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for listening, for all the likes, for all the comments and interacting, to the new faces, to the old faces, and the faces we're yet to see. I feel like I'm ending a kid's story there. But yeah, I'll see you on Monday to recap Sunday's game, which should be, hopefully, a 4-0 start to the Philadelphia Eagles. Only time will tell. But until then, have an amazing weekend. From myself, Liam Jenkins, I'll see you next time. Go Birds.